Good morning, everyone. Lawrence Fleming here. This is going to be a bad hair day in this wind, but I'll do my best. Okay, we are past the Feast of Trumpets, no matter what day you pick. We're fighting two calendars. Which one's God going to use? I would think he would use the one that he created instead of the one man has created. But he may follow along with man's dates just to let them know they're still not doing it right. Okay. Feast of Trumpets was too early. 2 days too early. Because the full moon happened after both days were over. So there's 2 more days. But those are come and gone too. I'll say it one more time. The rapture is not tied to a Jewish holiday. It's tied to when Satan attacks. And if he decides to attack on a Jewish holiday, that's his business. God has given him control. Limited, but control. It's like he gave him control in Job. He's given him control now. So he's got to choose when to act. But if he follows the Revelation 12 sign, which is what we're tied to, that's the rapture we want to tie to. He's got to come down here and go after the child. We're the child. We're going to rule with an iron fist alongside Jesus for the millennium. Christ has already been down and back, so he's not coming down again. So it's not him that that Satan's after. It's us, because this Revelation 12 is prophecy. All right. There's a number of dates if you do want to tie to the Jewish calendar, because that seems to be when Satan likes to attack. We have actually another possibility, and I'd mentioned it, that if we have a Shemitah year, and it's not rocket science, but it's more math than I want to do. Go watch Barry Ah if you want to see his calendar on that. Whether he's done his math right or not, we'll find out. It's interesting and fun to watch, but I don't want to follow it up. I am sneezing. I've been sneezing for the past 2 days. I mentioned yesterday I thought I might be coming down with something, but it doesn't feel bad. It's just nuisance stuff like my sneezing and my runny nose, so I carry tissue in my pocket. Hopefully it doesn't get any worse than that. I mean, this is minor compared to what it could be. I'm not dealing with a fever or anything. It's probably just the change of climate. It is cold. I'm still wearing my jacket. All right, so if it's a Shemitah year, they moved the Feast of Trumpets over to Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement. And they celebrate them all at one time. Because part of the problem is there's a lot of days of rest where they're not allowed to work. And if you spread them out on a normal year, and you combine that with the Shemitah year, people would probably be starving to death because they'd be not working enough. So you put it over on one day. We're supposed to be in awe right now in repentance, coming up to the Day of Atonement, which is the 4th and 5th, according to their calendar. If everything's off a couple of days, you can extend that. And we got Tabernacles, I think, on the 19th. So any of these days, if you're trying to tie this to a Jewish calendar, would work. But since the time of Paul, they've been looking for any day. It could still be any day. Jesus knows everything that's going to happen. And Satan knows pretty much everything that's going to happen, except he thinks he's going to win. And so he's just got to come up with enough courage to start this. Everything has to be ready. Is Russia ready to attack in the Magog War? They're not there yet, I don't think, but they're getting very close. This oil pipeline explosion that they had, that was definite. Somebody had to dive down there to those two pipes and blow them up. And they're encased in concrete, so they may have had to have done it twice. Go down there and blow up the concrete and then go blow up the pipe. Something that was definitely planned. Israel just came out and said that they're willing to replace Russia as a supplier of energy to Europe. Russia's not going to like that. That would give them a high motive of coming down and attacking Israel to claim the oil. Hezbollah claims the oil off the coast, but that's just Iran. Iran doesn't have a chance against Russia because the Russians have already said that they're willing to go nuclear. And even if Iran has one, they don't have enough to compete with what Russia has. They might have one or two if they have them at all. Russia's got thousands. You don't want to push that bear back into a corner. Europe is still colliding with collapse, economic collapse. Turkey's about bankrupt. The UK is having major financial problems. The US would be if it wasn't that it was artificially held up. But we're about ready for that. When they're ready to go for digital dollars, our economy is going to collapse. You need to be ready for that. The stores may have food, but you may not have any money. That's why I've been telling you to prep. Our illustrious president is continuing to show his signs of senility. He was giving a speech and he was looking for a congresswoman, I think, who had died earlier this year. He couldn't figure out where she was at. But of course we know he's not in charge. And Nancy Pelosi's not in charge either. The harlot is in charge. The big money, that's who's in charge. They're giving them their marching orders. But I think we're looking at a case where our illustrious, fearless leader is in the way right now, so something may happen to him. If you look what's happening in Russia, all of his top leaders are dying off somewhat mysteriously. There's a nice dead tree in front of me here. See if I can come around to it. And it's hollow, which is what happens to dead trees. The bugs get in and hollow them out. I would worry about it if it was near a camp, but I think if it falls, it won't hit where there's going to be anybody at. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the weather. I have a cold front coming through here. If you look it up there, the trees, the leaves are blowing. I can feel it, it's cold. I've been using my heater in my tent in the morning because it's gotten down to, I think it got down to 49 last night, maybe 48. I mean, it's not freezing. When you crawl out of a warm sleeping bag, the last thing you want to do is to jump into 40-degree weather. I can't leave the heater on, that would not be safe, so I have to get up, turn it on, and then get up. I can't go back to bed. If I fall asleep and leave it on, I may not remember what happens after that. Never run a heater in your tent if you're sleeping. If you're tired, get inside the bag and comforter if you've got one and wait it out and deal with the heat in the morning. Okay, this Category 4, almost a Category 5 hurricane, hit as a Category 4 on the western side of Florida. If you haven't been watching the news, you might want to just tune in on that. Most of them are talking about it. It's the 5th largest hurricane to hit the U.S. That's a pretty big storm. Just on the back of another big storm that went through. But it skipped the U.S. and hit Canada. If you look back through history, I don't know who did it, whether it was Dr. Barry or somebody else, one of my other watchers, did a report on storms hitting coinciding with what our government has done. If you go back in time and look at when we did things that were harmful to Israel, we got hit with a major hurricane. We're starting to be punished more regularly now. I keep saying that I don't want to see it, but I think we have a major earthquake going to hit California. They keep doing the things they're not supposed to do. They keep basically telling God, if they're in charge, to leave them alone. God leaves you alone, all the stuff that he's holding back will come at you. And if you totally challenge him, he'll create something to get your attention. My son safely made it to Peru, so he's there for a couple months to visit with his fiancée and family. Then you have to come back. I told him if it gets really crazy here, you might check about applying for asylum. Because that will be in December. That'll be after the election time frame. If the Democrats are going to pull anything, it will be between now and then. They may be coordinating a 9/11 type event to make sure that we're off guard, distract us. Don't watch this hand, watch this hand. Sleight of hand, distractions, chaos, all the things that the Democrats like to use. Okay, if you want to see what the calendar looks like, Shabbat.org. I put up, did I put up a link? No, I don't think I did. I'll try to. I think I might have put it on somebody's status, but I'll put it up on the regular, up on this one, so look for it. They're a Jewish site, obviously. You want to know anything about what's going on? Go to that site. It's been there for a long time. They've got the full calendar. It is the official calendar, not the correct one. They're off by a couple of days, so just whatever date you see, just nudge it forward a couple of days. We started a month late. But again, that's not a timetable for the rapture. It might be a timetable for Satan to attack. He likes to attack or have his surrogates down here attack on dates like that. The fact that it's quiet, it's not happening, when things seem quiet, think about that one, it is quiet. Russia's getting ready to make an announcement on Friday. They just had referendums to have some of the eastern countries of Ukraine secede and want to annex back to Russia again. I'm sure those elections were fair, but Ukraine's already at war, so what are they going to do? Declare war? And Putin's threatening to declare war. We're still helping. We're still saying, come on, Putin, we want a war between you and the United States so that way we can eliminate a large population. And forget the 2030 agenda. They want a lot of people to die. These are the kind of people we're dealing with. I'm going to show you a couple things from around here. This is a different type of forest. Somebody's already pointed out the trees are bigger. They are. I've gone over an hour away from my other site. So I am going to show you some of the nature of the area. I showed you the tree, but now we're going to look at seeds. And I'm not real good on these, but I'm going to show you what we've got. Things I just pick up on the ground. Kids like to do this, to run around and find stuff and pick them up. I've got a nice big lake over there if I wanted to fish. I don't have a fishing license currently. Staying off the radar. All right. Let me shut this down and I'm going to turn the camera around and just kind of do a quick show and tell. Okay, everybody, I am not a survivalist like the guys on Dual Survival or Stroud or any of these other survival shows. But there's food if you needed it. You know, acorns. Yeah. There's a pine cone on a branch as the branch came loose. It's not quite ripe yet, but you know, we've all seen pine cones. These are small. The ones that are out west, I remember growing up, are really big. They're bigger than my hand. And you can get pine nuts out of those. Those are good. The Indians used to eat those all the time. And if that word offends you, get another channel. We call them Indians and we don't do it despairingly. They didn't know who they were when they ran into them. They were looking for India. If you want to call them indigenous just so you can be politically correct and keep our government happy, go right ahead. I don't mean it despairingly. I've got lots of friends that are part of that group. Okay, again, if you needed something to eat, crack these open just like any other nut. They need to be more like this. But I've been told that they have made food out of the green ones. They might have to cook it, season it, I don't know. They're going to be more bitter, just like most fruits are. The trees are moving around in this breeze. It's actually calming down for a little bit. It's been blowing pretty hard. This is not anything to do with the hurricane. This is just a cold front going by. That's why I'm cold. That's why I have my jacket on. It's the season change. Okay, we're just going to wrap this up. I'm not going to do a Bible reading right now. We need to really take time and just kind of look at ourselves. This is what the Jews would be doing right now. They'd be looking at themselves, looking inward, see where they're at. What's their relationship to God? Be repentant. The Day of Atonement is coming. That for them, not having Jesus, that for them was the day that they got their sins hidden. They could never take away their sins like Jesus did for us, but they would be hidden. And of course, they had to be repentant during this time because they weren't sure that their sacrifice was going to be accepted. We're guaranteed if we go to Jesus and ask for forgiveness. We're guaranteed if we come to Him. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. You open the door, He'll come in. We have a guarantee. They didn't. And they're still looking. Well, they fully believe in the Messiah. Jesus tried to tell them, I represent this Old Testament scripture and I represent this one. They wouldn't accept it. And of course they know the story. They know what we believe. They still don't accept it. Because they've been taught for a long time to hate Christians. And some Christians have been some Christians have been taught to hate Jews. Hate's never good. It's not from God. So as we wait, don't give up. We are definitely in the times. We are not necessarily looking for the next few days as a rapture. It could be. It's not tied to the holidays, but Satan could tie his attack to the holidays. But we could have a rapture anytime. Tonight, today. It's not tied to any particular time of day either. Now, if we're going to start things, then it might be close to a Jewish holiday. So as soon as we're gone, Satan can try to attack Israel. We know when that's supposed to happen. At the beginning, along with us. Okay. Be safe. Don't give up. We're not done yet. And even if it's not this month, it could be next month or the next month. We are waiting simply for the world pieces, the chessboard, to get ready. And that's all we're waiting on. And there are already pieces on the chessboard that have been moved into position. Whether they're all there or not that they need, we won't know until it happens. I said before, Russia could launch a nuke. And before it hits, we're raptured. In the blinking of an eye. So that's why we need to go out fast. Possibly. Okay, till we meet in the clouds. God bless.